What's going on, guys? It is that time once again for another edition of Odds and Ends, where I read to you guys some really weird news stories from all over the world. And hey, they don't call it Odds and Ends for a reason. Now, I wanted to tell you guys a little known fact. I don't know if you guys know this or not, though, but today, on this day, May 25th, 35 years ago, so that would take you to 1977. So May 25th, 1977, Star Wars was first released in Star Wars was released in theaters. The original Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Yeah, 35 years ago, and look how far it's come in 35 years. Yeah, it's a long ways, but just thought you guys should know that though. But so anyways. Besides that, we have 4 stories today, and they're all really long and really ridiculous because I kind of read them before, I got my hands on them, and I'm going to read them to you guys though. But so anyways, without further ado, let's begin. The first story comes out of Turkey, where villagers in southeastern Turkey became concerned after mistaking a dead bird for an Israeli spy. The migratory bird, a common European bee-eater, was found dead in a field near the city of Gaziantep. The animal had a numbered metal ring around its leg stamped, quote, Israel. The villagers called police and told them the bird's nostrils looked unusually large and must have been fitted with a microchip by Israeli intelligence. According to the BBC, a counterterrorism unit checked on the incident. The bird's corpse was eventually taken to experts in the Turkish Agriculture Ministry for examination. They found it to be an ordinary, if deceased, bee-eater. Panicky villagers were assured that it is common practice for migratory birds to be fitted with identification tags in order to track their movements. The Society for Protection and Nature in Israel confirmed the band's serial number as being legitimate. An official at the ministry told reporters it took some effort to persuade the locals that the small dead bird posed no threat to national security. Ties between former allies Turkey and Israel deteriorated sharply 2 years ago after 9 Turkish pro-Palestinian activists died during an Israeli security force raid on a boat attempt to break the blockade on Gaza. Okay. At what point would you decide that a bird that looks normal would be trained under Israeli intelligence to believe that it was a spy? Who came up with that radical idea and thought that it would come to that, where it's like, yeah, by the way, this thing is a spy? Yeah, not gonna happen. There's more advances in technology these days, so. But then again, if it were doing that, that's old school. But yeah, it's just a regular bird. Nothing to worry about. Okay, anyways, moving on. Our next story comes out of Washington, where a 47-year-old shopper was bitten by a rattlesnake inside a Walmart store in Clarkson. Micah Craig was in the superstore's gardening section to buy a bag of mulch when he reached down to pick up a stick. The stick turned out to be a reptile, which struck him in the hand. Craig stomped on the snake and was taken to a hospital for antivenom when his hand started to swell. Craig told local news media he was purchasing the mulch for his, get this, marijuana plants, which he is licensed to grow for medical reasons. Walmart is investigating to see how the snake got into the store. A spokesperson for the chain said, quote, "We are working with a pest management team, which is conducting a sweep of the property to ensure there is no additional rattlesnake activity." Okay, I can understand how a rattlesnake got into like a bag of mulch, but the only thing I question is how did it end up in Washington? I mean, aren't rattlesnakes supposed to be mostly snakes that live in the desert, such as Nevada, Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico? Don't they live like somewhere in that region? But in Washington, that's more to the coast, and it has a I don't know how the elevation is or the climate. It's a different climate. I know it is for sure because it's from desert to city, and like I said, I don't know what it is though. But I want to know how it got there. But that's weird. But at least he got treated, and apparently Washington has the ability for you to have your license to grow medical marijuana for medical reasons. Huh. Okay. Moving on. Our next story comes out of Wisconsin, where Bill Wistith, he's a weird last name, is a 6 foot 6 inch 350 pound eating machine. But the Dennisville resident was shocked when he was kicked out of an all-you-can-eat buffet for eating too much. Quote, "It's false advertising," Wisheth told TMJ4 News in Wisconsin. Quote, "We asked for more fish, and they refused to give us more fish." According to his calculations, Wisheth downed a dozen pieces of fried fish before being cut off by restaurant staff at Chuck's Palace. The still hungry diner telephoned police to protest the treatment, but he got no response. 2 days later, Wisheth returned to Chuck's Palace with a picket sign. Waitress Elizabeth Roming told television station The Bottomless Eater has been a problem for years. Wisheth says he will protest at the restaurant every Sunday night until they allow him to eat all he can eat. Despite the fish flap, Wisheth had no hard feelings about the eatery. Quote, they have some of the best pizza in town if you like deep dish," he said. Okay, dude, you should have known this by now, but because of your obesity, you're 6'6", 350 pounds. You eat a dozen pieces of fried fish, which are like this big. Yeah, dude, there's obviously regulations when it comes to places like this that say, okay, we only have, a certain amount of, food for our customers, and therefore if one person were to eat, 10, 20 trays of servings worth of food, then you would be out of business and you would have no income. And therefore, not that many people would be going, but more people like you because you're eating large portions of food and you're going to probably gain more weight. But then again, that was his choice, not mine, and he decided to do that. But moving on, our final story comes out of Tennessee, where Joy Lounders may be a liar, but she's a committed liar. Police in Jefferson County say the 48-year-old made up a story about a home invasion on the night of Wednesday, May 16th. Fearing that her story about a false intruder might not be believable enough, Lounders allegedly shot herself in the leg and the shoulder with a .38 caliber handgun. While waiting for an airlift to the UT Medical Center, Lounders allegedly told police a white male in his 40s broke into her house. Lounders said the two struggled over a gun and the intruder shot the homeowner twice before fleeing. Lounders called her husband and a neighbor who phoned 911. Evidence gathered at the scene, however, did not appear to match Lounders' account. According to WATE 6 in Knoxville, when questioned by the sheriff's office, Lounders confessed to shooting herself. The reason behind Lounders' story is unclear, although police say it may have something to do with the fact that she was due to serve time in Jefferson County Jail starting on May 21st on a DUI conviction. The district attorney is determining whether to bring additional against Lounders. Okay, you've got to be that stupid to think, oh yeah, if I shoot myself in the arm and leg, or in the leg and the shoulder, that my story will be believable and I won't go to jail for a DUI conviction. Yeah, they're going to find out sooner or later, and then eventually you're going to get caught, and then those charges are going to be added up on top of your charges for your DUI conviction. So DUI and attempted assault on yourself, I don't know if that's even possible, but doing that on top of your conviction, it's just going to add more time on your sentence, and you're going to have a charge, and you're not going to be able to really do anything much. But again, she thought she can get away with it, but nobody can get away with anything, especially if it's from the law enforcement. Anyways, guys, that is it for this edition of Odds and Ends, and I really hope you guys enjoy listening to those stories as much as I like reading them to you. And we will see you guys next week for another edition of Odds and Ends, and until next time, take it easy.